Operation Hades. You're going to see actually right now, instead of having to wait till the end of the episode, what I'm talking about with the Matrix example. So if we type in what Operation Hades is, all right, just a quick Google search, whatever, we're going to find here, according to Wikipedia, Operation Hades, and I quote, may refer to Operation Hades, which resulted in the plutonium affair in Germany, Operation Hades, part of Operation Ranch during the Vietnam War, right? And then something else that has to do, I believe, with a video game or something like this, right? And the reason why I bring this up is because these are the operations that are the most important ones, because they're so distorted. They're officially non-existent. So it's like looking at a bunch of lines of code on a screen and going, what the hell am I looking at? When if you really look deeper, it's more than just code. So let's then take a look at the more important subset of Operation Hades. It had to do with the plutonium affair in Germany. The whole thing with Vietnam, and I have great respect for people who fought in Vietnam, but the whole thing is to use, very sadly they do this, to use a war in Vietnam to distract from the real Operation Hades that really doesn't even officially exist, but they say it does on the internet and in other sources of media to validate that in our subconscious so we don't think about looking it up in the database, right, of the Freedom of Information Act database or something like this. Now, let's take a look. With that being said, when we look at this, we also have to understand that the secret space program, and this is also according to some emails that have leaked as well from John Podesta and Dr. Edgar Mitchell, suggest that the non-friendly ETIs, all right, extraterrestrial intelligence, that are not really cooperative with humans, they're not necessarily bad, but they kind of look at us like, what the hell are these guys? You know what I mean, sort of thing. And so when we see that, these beings control multidimensionally certain planets that need to be passed through with the direct access rerouting transportation, my apologies, in order to travel through space and if you want to explore. But certain planets demand, I guess you could say, a tax or a fee, if you will. What is that fee or tax? Believe it or not, I'm not trying to sound crazy here, but human bodies. Now you might say, Dave, where the hell are you getting this from, right? Okay, anyways, let's take a look at Karla Turner, a woman, an investigative journalist, highly respected, very strong journalist, by the way, highly respected, who just coincidentally died, not just, but years ago died, coincidentally, of some type of onset breast cancer that accelerated extremely quickly within a matter of months. Shortly after, she published her book and started doing speeches about UFO abduction encounters, talking about how there's a certain extraction of a particular gland from the eye. What extraction is that? Adrenochrome. Now, I don't want to get into that too much because I don't want YouTube to remove this video, but that speaks for itself. So anyways, talking about how there's a certain extraction of a particular gland from the eye. What speaks for itself. So anyways, let's take a look here. Karla Turner was born in 1947 in Arkansas, and then she died January 9th, 1996, under very suspicious illnesses. It was breast cancer, but it was something that was kind of like, what the hell, how did this happen? She didn't have a medical history of it. I get it, she's human. Everyone's human. Things just come up. People very sadly get cancer, and it's just the way it is. But certain circumstances and the timing of it was a little too fishy. Now, yes, we'll never be able to prove this, so I'm not going to sit here and say to you guys, she was poisoned or something like this. However, we do know that the government constantly gets people, quote unquote, sick, or the CIA does, in order to make people stay quiet. The thing she talked about was how some of the abductions that occur every year, particularly back then, the 1 million children that go missing every year, are not just going missing in national forests, because you can't just make kids wander into national forests and then make them disappear and use their bodies to feed, to these other beings on other planets in order to get through them. The point, though, is that some of the abductions are used to just study DNA in humans. Some of these children never return. Okay? Now, the next thing I want to point to as well is that Karla Turner found a connection financially to an operation, now bear with me, this is going to get a little bit extreme, but just please bear with me, to German nuns, okay? Buying orphan children or renting them and raping them and sometimes never giving them back. She had proof right before she died in the mid-90s that this was the case. And guess when this story came out in the mainstream media? 4 days ago. She, just like Phil Schneider, was about 20 to 25 years ahead. Okay, let's put it that way. So let's take a look here, for example. And I quote, German nuns rented orphan boys to businessmen for gangbangs and orgies. Suppressed reports seen by media, end quote. Look, some of some other sources. Some of these children have been missing and they never return. Now, there's evidence to suggest through Carla Turner's research and other cases and other documentation that these children's bodies are abducted, harnessed, used, and then their bodies are thrown onto the planets that these DART operations need to get their ships through to in order to keep these beings satisfied, if you will. Now, you might say, Dave, that's crazy. Why would aliens eat humans? Yeah, I know, I've spoken about this before, right? But here's the thing, guys. Think about it like this. Do humans not eat other animals for food? Do we not eat chicken? Do we not kill cow for meat? What's the difference? What's the difference between these beings out there demanding some type of human flesh because it is appeasing to them? And that's not to say they only want humans, because you might think, Dave, why are you making the whole human aspect of this so special? That's not the case. It could be other beings as well, but humans are subversively one of the more, I guess we could say, inferior species intellectually. And these beings know they can take advantage of us if we want to keep exploring different parts of space. So it's kind of like there's guards at a gate saying, if you want to get through, this is the toll. This